Chase, obviously a +3 tonight overall. Just what did you make of the bounce back that the guys showed through the ebbs and flows of the 90 tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it, getting our momentum back, getting that consistency back in our performance. And I thought tonight was a much better, really start to finish overall, much better performance. I think we took our foot off the gas when we were 3-0 up. So we've got to make sure that we learn from that and continue to close matches out. But again, just a solid performance, kind of really what we wanted to see after a tough last couple games.
What was the points of emphasis, or was it more just mental self and watching film after the 90 on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it was more just getting back to who we are. I think, the St. Louis game was a tough game. We gave a lot to it. I think the guys just, again, it's still a pretty young group. We go to St. Joe's and we started 8 guys that were sophomores or younger. And I think it was a learning moment for the group in that sense, that you can't just show up on an away game and just expect things to happen. You actually have to go take it. You have to put forth the energy. And I think that's what you saw better tonight, was the energy was there. It was back to more of who we are.
The first 45 seemed like it was a combination of not finishing and a lot of offsides. Just how teachable are those moments, just finding that timing and finding each other in rhythm?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting ourselves into good positions, and offsides I don't mind as much, as long as, again, you're trying to test the back line. And again, it's quick little adjustments, conversations, reminders about, different types of movements. So I think we were right there doing what we needed to do. We knew we were knocking on the door, and then it was just about, could we get the breakthrough in the second half.
What was the discussion in the locker room? Because obviously it was a very quick start after that, and then it was off to the races from there.
Well, it was a lot about the energy. I complimented them on the energy that they brought to the first half, and then I challenged them to step up even one more level. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do, because how do you quantify something like that? But again, they came out, continued to execute the game plan, continued to put things in motion that we had talked about, and again, thankfully, we found the back of the net early.
How much are halftime conversations also just knowing your guys, knowing when to be hot, when to be a little bit cold?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a strength of our staff, is understanding who we've got. We spend a lot of time with these guys, and we know them very well, and we do that on purpose. We want to make sure we know how to push buttons at the right times, and again, this group is also very competitive group. They push their own buttons too, and we walk into the locker room, they're already solving a lot of the problems. So that is very helpful as a coaching staff as well.
If you can take us through the multiple goals. You had 3 guys that have now scored multiple goals. Obviously, Miles with 1 and 1 with an assist as well. Just what did you make of the goals in real time?
And again, we talked about it in preseason. We've talked about most of the season. We're not a team that's going to have one star that's just going to light it up and that is going to score multiple goals for us on a night necessarily. So we have to rely on the team as a whole. And I think that tonight was that. It was a really good team performance. And I thought those guys were all deserving of those goals and assists.
You alluded in the opener to the disappointment at the end, giving up the clean sheet on that piece. Just how disappointing is that, and how much of an understanding is that when the subs come in, they're expected to contribute?
Yeah, I mean, that can't happen. You've really played pretty darn exceptional for 75 minutes, and again, to take our foot off the gas in the last 15 is a pretty disappointing situation to be in. But again, you survive, you learn from it, and you move on. It's not the end of the world. And again, I think there were still some good moments within that last 15, but we just got to make sure we keep our standards high and don't let them drop.
How much conversation, if any, had to be focused on the fact that this was non-conference? Obviously, you have no games for over a week at this point and just taking care of business in the 90.
We didn't even talk about that. It was all about just taking care of business in general. I think when you're coming off of 2 losses, you've got to make sure you just focus on the next result and just being who you are and executing to the best of your ability.
You saw Ashton Gell be able to get behind the defense multiple times. What kind of offensive production did you see from your team, and any changes that you made offensively coming into this game?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about areas of the field we wanted to play in and making sure that the guys understood that. It was a short turnaround, so not a lot of time to train. But the guys did a lot of film work, did a lot of work on the board, just making sure that we understand what we're looking for. And to give the guys credit, they executed pretty darn well. So I give them a lot of credit.
On the flip side of that, your back half kept the ball almost entirely in the attacking position. How does it feel to have such a strong defensive unit that's able to take anything?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the defensive backbone is kind of what our programs have been known for over the years, and which is why it's disappointing that we gave up the shutout. But But again, I give them a lot of credit. They're executing really well right now, and we've had a couple changes within that line over the last few games as well, and guys are stepping in and doing a really good job.
If you could pick one thing, what impressed you the most from your team from this win today?
I think the ability to maintain possession higher up the field and just be in the attacking half more so, and I think that's that's I think the sign of a good squad if they can do those things and then still create chances and not just possession but possession with a purpose.